Let's go. We back. Happy Monday, everybody. It's the Recap Lunch Hour with Guff, me, Ryan McGuffey, here on the recap. Plenty to get to. Hope you had a great weekend. 5 straight days of football comes to an end tonight when the Rams and Vikings kick it off in Arizona, actually, due to the horrific wildfires out there in LA. But 5 straight days of football, going all the way back to the Notre Dame-Penn State game on Thursday, into the CFP game on Friday with Ohio State, which we did lose our recap bet. The game did not go over, and here we go again, trying to get closer to 500. Happy to be with you all. Certainly plenty to discuss, not just from the wild card weekend, but also like the news this morning that came out that Mike McCarthy is out in Dallas. You know, there's some speculation that Ryan Poles' leading candidate, maybe favorite candidate, is and was Mike McCarthy when the Bears were denied permission to talk to him last week by the Cowboys. They did try to negotiate throughout the weekend. It sounds like the length of contract was the holding point there. And now, like, here's the thing. I don't see, like, what's the plan, right? Like, the guy we wanted, Mike Vrabel, that was announced yesterday that he's going to New England. Literally no one's surprised by that. It's more about how quickly the Patriots moved to make sure they got that done. Then there's rumors about Ben Johnson really loving Las Vegas. I mean, everybody seems to kind of love Tom Brady's input and inclusion into the ownership of the Las Vegas Raiders, and has made that job a lot more attractive than it was maybe prior to that deal going down a couple months ago. And so then it's just like, okay, Ron Rivera, former Bear, was in the building yesterday, and we know that that was the first in-person candidate. Let's go. Speed this up. I saw somebody on Twitter ask me, when will the Bears complete their Rooney Rule? So like if they want to hire someone, they can. And that's a great question. And are they waiting for the Detroit Lions to get done to get these guys in the building? I know they spoke with Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn on Saturday. You know, here we go with the comments. Broski, from Jerry Jones to Jerry McCaskey, I'm not sure any head coach could handle that mentally. Look, there's how many of these jobs? The Bears are, from a guy like Mike McCarthy, to get back, like, you can go from Packers to Cowboys to Bears. Find me 3 more franchises that have that type of oomph in the NFL in terms of like charter franchise and history. You basically go to the 3 most historic franchises. And then the fact that he could coach up a young quarterback. He's always been great with quarterbacks. He got the most out of Dak Prescott. I don't like, there's a lot of people who are like, oh, not on Mike McCarthy. Really? I mean, Terrence announced Mike McCarthy to the Bears. Eric, now that Vrabel is gone, McCarthy is gone, who do you still want? Like, I am still in the Pete Carroll camp. I am. I'm still like, I want a guy. I'm kind of leaning towards the McCarthy thing. I am. What's the plan? It doesn't seem like there is one. And Broski, you're right. Like, that's where I'm at. Like, today was a curveball in a good way for the Bears, I think. A guy they wanted to interview that were denied a chance to interview is now available again. Well, no offer was made because no offer could be made, Broski. Like, and they didn't have them in the building, but no offer could be made. They weren't complicit with the Rooney Rule. Leon, I've thought long about it. I'm okay with Cliff Kingsbury for the sake of Caleb. Plus, Kingsbury had the Cardinals being a playoff team before injuries took over the team and Kyler went out for years. A couple of things with Cliff Kingsbury. Did you hear the report on last night's game that said Kingsbury is extremely happy? He knows he's going to get head coaching opportunities again, and that there's a very strong chance he will deny requests for some interviews. I wonder if that includes the Bears. We know that there was something that happened in that interview last year that he refused to discuss it before the Bears and Commanders game earlier this season. You know, we talked about the personalities. Eberflus didn't want to hire a personality bigger than his. That's exactly Broski. Mark Davis makes George McCaskey look like a genius. Thomas, Ben Johnson might stay with the Lions if they don't win the Super Bowl because of unfinished business. Maybe at some point, though, like your life cycle in the cycle to become a head coach, it does dry up. Now, I don't expect that to happen with Ben Johnson. I would be surprised, actually, if Ben Johnson does not take a job. I would be. Lou, the plan has always been with this franchise, there's no plan. And I think that's what we all fear. That's why I'm like, you know, Lou, to your point, that's why I'm kind of like, Mike McCarthy? kind of fell in your lap on Monday, what are we doing? Like that phone call, I've already made the phone call. I have a plan. I have a flight out. He's coming in tomorrow morning for an interview in person because he can. Vince says McCarthy isn't his first choice, but we can do a lot worse. Isn't that something? But, I think a lot of us feel that way, Vince, because of what everybody's been saying here about there is no plan. I don't disagree with you. I was saying this last week when people were like, oh, Mike McCarthy. Dude, go look at his resume. He has 11 career playoff wins. The Bears have 11 ever. It's insane. And look, his track record with quarterbacks is good. Even this year with how they played after Dak went out, the defense got better and Cooper Rush played decent football. They got some wins. They were 7-10. Arnie, Dr. Guff, here we go again. Fumigate this organization. Bear Nation has exhausted anger, frustration, and now we've exhausted hope. So sad. It's PTSD, guys. It's what it is. We're all in this together. That's why we're here. That's why we do the recap lunch hour, so we can throw our thoughts and feelings against the wall and we can all ride the wall down with them. Lou. Oh, look at this. I said this before. When you guys start communicating with each other in the chat, then I know we're a community. So I'm going to put this one on. Leon says, Lou, the plan is to find a list of yes men and choose the one that will not talk back. Tough to disagree. Clyde, change the profile picture. Good for you, Clyde. I know if we know Vrabel is gone, do we go Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, or Mike McCarthy? I'm at work now, Ryan McGuffey. Clyde, always appreciate you hopping on. You guys might not like this. Of those three, to me, the safest pick by far is Mike McCarthy because he's been in that chair so many times, and he can handle the job. I would like to see McCarthy out from the umbrella of Jerry Jones, knowing that guy, he might you're turning left and that guy's always veering right. You're saying one thing, he might be saying another on a radio show. The one thing that he would not have to worry about here is the owner going on the local radio station for a hit, talking after every game. That's not happening. Yeah, Broski's saying what I'm saying. Absolutely take McCarthy. The Bear Bunch is all in on McCarthy. Safe option and has a proven track record. Exactly. What's up, Justin? Broski again. They couldn't make an offer because of the Rooney Rule. That speaks even more to not having a plan. Yeah. So okay. And this is not to belittle the Rooney Rule. I want to be very clear about this. It's like, don't just throw two people out there and say, okay, we've complied, time to go. Some people are criticizing the New England Patriots for how they handled and moved so quickly. They did everything they were supposed to do. They followed the letter of the law. Thomas Brown does not count. I believe he's being interviewed today. Thomas Brown does not count towards the Rooney Rule because he was already in the building. So Aaron Glenn does not count because he was on Zoom. That has to be in person. I believe Ron Rivera does count. So Ron Rivera was in the building yesterday. I'm pretty sure that one counts. So that I'm with you guys because now the Cowboys job is open. Okay. That is a better job than the Chicago Bears. That's a fact. It's a better job. They're coming off. Look at how they were very close to playoff. They were in the playoffs the last 3 years before this. Much better job, closer. They have more stars, better line. That's going to be like, is Ben Johnson all of a sudden going, didn't think Dallas was opening. I'd like to go to Dallas. There's going to be guys who want to be in Dallas because it's Dallas. Vince says Carroll's his guy. So what? He's 73. People say he'd only be here for 4 to 5 years. Who cares? We'd be a lady with 3. This is what I keep saying. Everyone's like, we need long-term stability. When has that happened in this town? Seriously. Lovey, the last guy, and that was bumpy at times with the offense. Stop thinking about more than 5 years. Think about right now, 3 to 5 years. Stop thinking about, well, what if the coordinator's too good that he's hired somewhere else? That doesn't happen here. You need to change the narrative. By the way, if that ever happened here, that's a great thing. That means your system is good. That means you have other coaches within the staff that can elevate. That's what happens when you're good, is that people pluck from your tree. It hasn't hurt Sean McVay, hasn't hurt Andy Reid. They keep plucking. And what happens? Those teams keep winning. If Pete Carroll, knowing you can't promise anything, But if Pete Carroll had a 3-year deal, and I can tell you in year 2 and 3, the Bears were in the playoffs. And at the end of that, he was retiring, getting elevated within the front office, and had a coaching staff that he put together with a assistant head coach in waiting. Who's saying no to that? Sean says Lions are going to be in a battle this week. I love the Lions this week. I do. I know everyone's impressed with Jaden Daniels. You should be. Great game last night. I think the Lions having to play, like if the Vikings won tonight, having to play the Vikings for a third time, I think I really do love the Lions next week. It's going to be a different environment for a rookie quarterback. I just think the Lions are a much better football team right now than the Washington Commanders. DVI, I'm going to call you DVI for now. Ben Johnson definitely taking a head coaching job, I guarantee. Yeah, I don't disagree. If McCarthy can tolerate Jerry Jones, the McCaskies are a piece of cake. I agree with that. Steven, pass on McCarthy. Look what he did in Dallas. Oh, what? Look what he did in Dallas? Okay, hang on. Let me ask you a question, okay? Just to this guy, who we at here? Who am I talking to? I'm pulling up these. I want to pull up these stats for you, but I want to make sure I'm very clear to Steven. Look at what he did in Dallas. Okay. 6-10, 12-5, 12-5, 12-5, and then 7-10 this year with a bunch of injuries. So his first year he came in 6-10, turned the program around, goes 12-5, 3 straight years, and you're passing on that? I'm passing on that thought. How about that? The idea that we would pass on somebody that went 12-5 for 3 straight years? Come on. Proven track record, safe option, checks a lot of boxes. Not sold on Ben Johnson. Bear Bunch, I would co-sign for that. Get Pete Carroll by the time he leaves. Hopes the Chargers fired Hall by. Oh my God! Now we're rooting for other teams. We're rooting for 3 years of Carroll so he can retire to get the fired Jim Harbaugh. Whew, that's not a good formula. Your dark horse, Jimbo, is Ryan Day. I could see that happening. He wins a national title, sticks it to everybody, comes to the Bears. I don't know if it's funny. Ryan Day or Mike McCarthy. Ryan Day or Mike McCarthy. Sean, if Lions are 1 game away from a Super Bowl, do you see Ben Johnson staying for a year for unfinished business like he did last year? Again, at some point, think about all those Bills. I'd have to go back and look at the Bills head coaching candidates back then in the 90s when they lost 4 straight Super Bowls. At some point, you take the job. I mean, if you feel great and compelled in that organization, these jobs, they're just the right jobs not out there too many times. Thomas wants Carroll, young at heart, still chews gum like he's in his 20s. Yeah, I'm not worried about Pete Carroll's energy. Guff, when is the next recap Cubs podcast? Johnny, I think the plan is this week. I'm not going to confirm it yet, but it sounds like we might be having Jed Hoyer in this studio. Okay, so Jed Hoyer, hopefully this week. We will keep you guys alert. Maybe another surprise guest Cubs convention coming up this weekend. So a lot of guys coming back. I'll be at Cubs convention with Bruce Levine and David Hall for Inside the Clubhouse with the Score on Saturday. Jess, what's up, girl? I know that a lot of people are saying that the candidates should be lined up for the Rooney Rule, but Flores, Glenn, and other coaches are still playing or just got eliminated this past weekend. She's got 2 comments because there's so many coming in. I need to get that second one. Where is it, Jess? Hang on. I'm glad the Bears are taking the Rooney Rule seriously, trying to interview the best coaches available, not just check a box like the cheating Patriots. Hashtag never forget Spygate. Jess, well said. The Rooney Rule should not be something people are doing to check a box, to your point, Jess. Okay? Totally agree. The opportunity that's been given, the Rooney Rule has been outstanding because you're talking about minority candidates not even having the chance to sit in front of these people. So it has changed the way interviews are done. It's changed the way people can hire. And I think it's kept some owners open-minded about who's the right guy for the job. And we're starting to see that much more in the NFL. Would love to see college try to figure their shit out because they're not like this. They have major minority problems. Terrence, one way or another, Bears need to hit this next head coach out of the park. There's no one that's denying that. And Vince is saying, back to the comment about Harbaugh being fired, we wouldn't hire him then either. Clyde, if we know Vrabel is gone. Oh, but Clyde's coming in with comments from the same comment from 2 different forums. I like it. Justin, Sox Fest next weekend, not this weekend, next weekend. You're right. It's almost time. Jay Smith says, I'll take McCarthy. He wins games. I'll worry about his time management issues when we're 12-5 in the playoffs. I know, right? That's kind of where we all are. I like Carroll as head coach. Glenn is DC and Kingsbury is OC with him. Hey, Sean, Aaron Glenn and Cliff Kingsbury can't leave Detroit and Washington for the same job. You got to be a promotion or you can't come. They're under contract. So if you're bringing on a head coach, Aaron Glenn would have to be like assistant head coach, or Cliff Kingsbury, assistant head coach, he'd have to take a promotion in order to leave his current job. Tim, the Bears should trade for Mike Tomlin. I'm glad that you mentioned this, Tim, because it feels like there's some smoke there. It feels like it's time for a change of scenery after 18 years. Would you entertain this? I would. What's the cost? 2 2s for Mike Tomlin? I would do that. Now the question is Mike Tomlin or Mike McCarthy? I mean, Mike Tomlin never had a losing record, but hasn't won a playoff game since 2016. You know, a lot going on there. Of course, Jaden Daniels may beat the Lions, Sean. I just love this matchup for Detroit. I really do. I love the Lions. I think that they're just chomping at the bit to get back to what to get to their goals of this year. I'm looking, let's see here. I'm looking at the Lions. Yeah, they have Washington preseason. Oh, they did not play Washington. Okay, I thought they did not play Washington this year. I just really like the Lions this week. I really do. I mean, I think they're going to score a boatload of points, and I just don't know if the Commanders can keep up with them. But it could happen. Got to hit the home run here, Ben Johnson, or bust. I don't necessarily agree with Ben Johnson or bust. I think you can hit a home run here with a lot of those candidates on here. And again, about Ben Johnson, you just better hope he can lead a room. Make a trade for Andy Reid. Look at his resume. I think Andy Reid, it's safe to say that the Chiefs are not interested really at all in trading Andy Reid. I don't think there's any shot that happens. I think we're a couple years too late on the opportunity for that. Guff, they had how many interviews before Carroll and Ben Johnson? They could have easily had 2 Rooney Rule interviews before. 1,000%, broski. Yeah, they interviewed every single candidate so far virtually, with the exception of Ron Rivera on Sunday. He was the first person to have in the building. But even like the Mike Kafkas of the world, certainly the 2 coordinators, Mike Vrabel, Pete Carroll, they were all virtual. Jaden Daniels always loses to real teams. I don't know about that. Nick, do you really think a head coach wants to go work for Jerry Jones, especially considering how he handled Mike McCarthy? Yes. Again, I don't think people are going, you know what? I have a chance to be a head coach of a team like the Dallas Cowboys. Nah, I'm out. I'll keep being the passing game coordinator here. Nick, I really do think that. Vince, Daniels is good, but the Lions win by at least 17. The Lions, I think, will put up 30. Sean says, thanks to Clyde. This is what I'm talking about. I love it. CPO. Guff, if for whatever reason Ben Johnson goes to the Raiders because of Tom Brady, would you hate it if McCarthy gets hired? No, we've been talking about this since we fired it up. I would not. As a matter of fact, I think the Bears can catch a break. By getting Mike McCarthy. Hector wants to know how I feel about the Bears announcing their interviews on their socials. You're not a fan. Hector, other teams do the exact same thing. This is something that is done throughout the league, that teams are disclosing who they've hired or who they've interviewed. It's not just the Bears. Like, for instance, I'll bring up, let me see if I can find a team. Let's see. Like, while I'm doing this, I feel like I just saw one earlier. I think it was the New York Jets, maybe. Let's see here. A lot of happy birthday. Yeah. The Jets yesterday, we have completed an interview with Darren Rizzi for our head coaching position. So the Bear, I understand you're not a fan. It's just the way of the world, Hector. That's other teams are doing it too. Lou says they're different guys with different energy levels and different accomplishments, but it's crazy to me that Fox was old when he was here, yet he's younger than Pete Carroll. I'd take Pete too. Different strokes for different folks, right, Lou? You're right. You're dead on. Different energy, different dudes, different points in their career, re-energized versus a guy kind of finishing. I don't know. Maybe the Lions we're sitting here going the Lions Commanders debate. David says, if the Lions put up a big offensive number, that makes it much easier for the Bears to pick Johnson. I don't, the Bears aren't sitting there going, well, let's just watch and see what Ben Johnson does in the playoffs. If they get beat, oh, it's his fault and we're out. No, I don't think that. I think that decision's already been made. Look at the numbers Dak put up under McCarthy. Sign me up. Exactly. That's what I'm saying, man. Like 12-5, 12-5, 12-5. Mike McCarthy is 174 and 112. He's had 3 10-loss seasons ever. One was this year because he didn't have his quarterback. 3 10-loss seasons ever. Think about that. 3 teams here, just to put that in perspective. He's had 3 10-loss seasons ever. Okay? The Chicago Bears have had 4 straight 10-loss seasons, and they've had 8 in their last 11. Mike McCarthy's had 3 ever. The Bears have had 10-loss seasons at 8 of 11 seasons in 4 straight. Whoa, check out Mike McCarthy. Are you kidding me? Shit, I'm going to pick him up from the airport right now. What are we doing? We're sitting here debating? Yeah, get that interview. I want to see that one. I want to see like Chicago Bears are interviewing Mike McCarthy, have him in the building, and are announcing this hiring tomorrow. That's kind of where I'm at now. Tim, I don't think Rex Ryan makes sense here. Not at this particular time. I understand why the Jets brought him in, but I don't see it. And how do I feel about Marcus Freeman? Okay. So I grew up, like many, a huge Notre Dame fan. I grew up like 60 miles west of the university. I probably was on that campus 20 times by the time I was 15 years old. Thought I was going there, whole 9 yards. Okay. Then, grew up, got older, got away from Notre Dame, started seeing some of the coaches. I couldn't stand Charlie Weiss, could despise Brian Kelly. Very hateable, right? Marcus Freeman has changed that. Marcus Freeman, I always tell my wife, if Marcus Freeman walks into our living room to recruit our children, give me the pen. I'll already have it ready to go. Sign, fine. He's here. Good. Done deal. Love him. How do I feel about Marcus Freeman with the Bears? I don't think it makes sense for Marcus Freeman. Why would Marcus Freeman leave a premier destination in Notre Dame? He has a 10-year, $95 million contract with a hefty buyout. So not that Marcus Freeman would not entertain the NFL job, but this is like timing to me. It doesn't feel right. Like Ryan Day, the timing on Ryan Day feels a lot more right than it does with Marcus Freeman. Terrence wants Mike Tomlin. Yeah, Steven, the guy who doesn't want Mike McCarthy because look at what he did in Dallas. Fires a head coach, he goes 10-6. That would be Lovie Smith. Guff, you mentioned the 90s Bills. Look at Marv Levy. He was old. Dude, credit to Marv Levy. He's still with us. The great Marv Levy, I believe, is 100. Marv Levy's 99. Isn't that great? How do you not love? So, yeah, Marv Levy, August 3rd. Let's get him to August 3rd. 100th birthday coming up for our guy, Marv Levy. But to your point, think about that. 1990 Marv Levy, okay? So 35 years ago, Marv Levy was 66, taking teams to a Super Bowl 4 straight years. My man. Toronto Sports Insider. That's him. Check him out, dude. This guy's got the best. He's got every feed going. He had the college football playoffs, the play-by-plays going, the community that was going in there. I popped in at one point and was like, damn, look at this. People listening to the game within a YouTube channel and conversation and community. TSI Mike, check him out. Him and I collaborate a lot. He's the best, man. Toronto Sports Insider. He's always promoting our stuff. Appreciate him being a part of us. The Steelers won't fire Mike Tomlin, but it'd be like a mutual parting of ways because Tomlin would go to them. I want out. They love him too much, and they'd work out a deal. You and Bruce also do good work on Inside the Clubhouse. Johnny, appreciate that, man. Schefter reported the Steelers will not move Tomlin. But Jess, to the point from a couple questions ago, if Tomlin puts his foot in the sand and says, I want out, and the Steelers are saying, well, we're going to make sure we aren't trading you, my guess would be something would happen. That would be my guess. If the Bears have a head coach that wins over 5 years that change the culture, it would be sweet. God, think about that, wouldn't it? Johnny's top 3, Ben Johnson, Mike McCarthy. Todd Monken Should be getting more love. What that guy's done out in Baltimore is insane. Now, he is on the Bears list. I don't think he interviewed last week because they had a playoff game on Saturday, but he is definitely in the mix. A young team like this doesn't need a guy trying to learn on the job. Agreed, Terry. That's why I'm like skeptical of the first-time hire. Not like Ben Johnson could be a stud. Definitely a stud OC. I'm looking for proven commodities here. Who wouldn't listen? You'd be an idiot if you didn't listen if Tomlin was available. Tomlin has a no-trade clause. Again, if Mike Tomlin's unhappy, though, he in management, well, you've been someplace 18 years. I'm just saying. We've seen this before. Both sides are like, this isn't happening. And then a week later, hey, we don't know. The real Phil Simms. Good afternoon. I don't see Freeman leaving Notre Dame. Stop playing. Bring on McCarthy or give Ben Johnson an offer he can't refuse. I don't hate that, Phil. I think you're right about Marcus Freeman. Justin, I know that, but it's planning time. I'm in a debate. If I get a hotel Friday night or drive back up here near Wisconsin and come back Saturday, do you know how late Friday night at Sox Fest is going till? You can find all of those things online, Justin. I believe it's a night Sox Fest this year. Just for the record, it is 5 to 9 p.m., my friend. So it might be too late for you, or it might be still get in the car. Pittsburgh will want a first rounder, and I would still do it. I doubt it happens. Yeah, I'd have to see what the price is, but I'm definitely listening. Especially depends on who else is available still. Yeah, the Lions defense is banged up. It's been banged up for weeks. Look what's happening. They're still out there kicking ass. Simply get Ben Johnson. Don't compare him to Matt Nagy. I don't think anybody is. Johnson runs the offense while Matt Nagy was an Andy Reid shit. I don't think anyone's comparing him to Andy Reid, at least not me. Shouldn't trade for him. Why in the world would you give up 2 twos? Do people not realize how good of a roster Mike Tomlin has had over the years and squandered? Being mediocre for years is not, I could see. So hype doesn't want Mike Tomlin. Just says the Rooney stuck with Noel for 23 years, Cowher for 15. Cowher only left because his wife was battling cancer. Tomlin will not be fired. He will leave. That's what I'm saying, Jess. He might go to the management and say, hey, I love you guys. I'll always be a Steeler. It's time for me to go. Couple more here as we come down the stretch of a awesome edition of the recap. Lot to say. Everyone's got a lot to say. Packed house, by the way. This is a packed house. A couple people in here new to the job. It looks like I've seen some new names in here, which I like. Art. What about Matt Campbell developing Brock Purdy or David Montgomery? Yeah, but he was I don't know about the Cap loves him. He is a good college coach. I heard some stuff on the weekend. Like some people were playing some of his quotes. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not going to poo-poo anything. I've said from the start that I'm going to keep an open mind about this whole process until we have a coach to talk about. So I guess Matt Campbell would have to be so impressive that he jumps over everybody else that I think I'd rather have. Coach Prime to Dallas. I mean, with that owner, could totally see it. What's the best thing I took away from Getz' interview? Adrian, thank you. Chris Getz, by the way, for those of you who haven't listened or want to catch up, Cap and I sat down with Chris Getz right here in this studio last week for over 80 minutes. It's as good as an interview with a GM as you'll find. The comfortability that he was like, very open about the changes he's making to the organization. And he, as he says, no one wants to hear it. No one wants to hear about infrastructure and stuff, but he has identified a lot of things that this organization has needed. What I think I liked the best thing about Getz' interview, Adrian, he seems very committed to doing it the way he's put out in front of Jerry Reinsdorf. And I asked him, are you going to have time? And he said, I don't know. But it's not going to make him stray from how he wants to do things the right way. So check it out on the channel. It's out there. It's anywhere you find or anywhere you listen to and find podcasts. It's audio only as well. Justin, I will take McCarthy. Maybe he knows. I think those secrets have changed since he's been there. Mike McCarthy is a bridge coach. You know what? I'm okay with a bridge coach. What's a bridge? 4 years? I'm fine with a bridge. I am. The $20 million payroll showed up against Texas and the title goes back to Columbus. I mean, it's a 9.5 point spread right now. Notre Dame is very banged up on the offensive line. It should be a good game. I think the Irish are going to have to do a couple things to get a couple bounces to go their way, and we'll see what happens. Damon says McCarthy fizzles out in the playoffs. Man, I'd love that opportunity. I would love the opportunity to fizzle out in the playoffs. I'd love the opportunity to sit here and be like, was 12-5 seasons in a row a waste? Yeah, no one, Justin, to your point, everyone knew Vrabel was going there. Guff, the Bears' road opponents next year are brutal. How you feeling? They'll play against them. I think it's tough to judge year to year. I really do. I mean, do we expect both the Lions and Vikings to have 14 plus wins next year? Right now, you have the Lions, Packers, Vikings, the Ravens, who are Super Bowl contenders, the Bengals, who were scary if they got in, they didn't. The Eagles are Super Bowl contenders. Washington looks like they're going like this. They could easily take a step back. San Francisco feels like they're in the middle right now, and the Vegas Raiders are going to get a new head coach. My point is, the Commanders were 4-13 a year ago, and now they're in the Final Four of the NFC. Who knows? Justin, you want me to pick you way on the way up to Sox Fest? The people who don't want McCarthy are snobs, says David. All right, I don't think we need to name call in here. We're a bunch of friends. A lot of comments I'm not going to get to in here. My goodness. Tom, my man, as Dan Hampton used to say, Bears need someone with pelts on the wall. Yeah, someone that's going to get some stuff done, some accountability. Tommy, what are your thoughts on Tom Brady interviewing Ben Johnson too early during the broadcasting? That's part of his, look, it's a weird that the NFL is allowing him to do both. But they do have some rules in place about him not being part of meetings, except I honestly don't care. Good for the Raiders. I mean, the Raiders are a bad organization, bad job. And now Tom Brady's involved. And it seems like everyone wants to go there. Whatever you need to do to get a leg up. My good friend, Eric, that Munt crew is as good as they get, by the way, folks. If your last name's Munt and you're from the region, I'm telling you right now, it's as good as it gets. And my favorite of the group, Ralph, would cry if the Bears hired Matt Campbell. It's because he pees Iowa State. He does. Everything he does is whatever color yellow that is, and then the red of the Cyclone. That is a man who bleeds every which way Iowa State. Ninos, Dave Tobe, Spags, Josh McCown, Kubiak brothers would all be great staff members. A lot of retreads in there, but yeah, absolutely. By the way, the Getz interview was fire. I can't wait for the Jed Hoyer. Justin, appreciate you, man. Absolutely appreciate you. Landon, listening to our old colleague Jen Latta on Milwaukee radio taking Packer fan calls makes me think that these depressed Green Bay fans under 40 could not survive one day. Agreed. Jen's the best. She's outstanding. She does great work. Still text her back and forth. She does great work on College Game Day. My favorite show. The link, by the way, is in the chat for those of you who are wanting to listen to the Chris Getz interview. Those of you who are on Facebook and YouTube, you should see that there in the chat, the link to the Chris Getz interview if you want to take a listen, take a view, some kind of combination of the two. Certainly appreciate any feedback. A couple more here, going a little longer today. Do you think the Bears should involve Caleb in the process? I mean, what is more important than a quarterback head coach relation? I don't think Caleb should be involved in the picking of a coach. I do think it's fair to shoot some ideas his way and get some ideas from him. I don't think he should be in part of the interviews. I don't, especially the early interviews. I do think Caleb should be, like I just said, I do think he should be looped in and there should be conversations, but we'll see. Getz said he is signing a $100 million contract. He did. Will it be a Robert extension? I don't believe so. I'd be surprised if Robert's on the team by the time we get to spring training. All right. We got one more thing to do, right? Because there's a football game tonight and there's a bet to be had. And my guy Lip Ripper's not here. That's okay. Lip Ripper, you'll be catching up. I got bonus action today in the recap bet of the day. I'm taking a chance here. I'm willing to lose. My bet of the day is Jordan Addison hitting the end zone today for Minnesota. It's plus 150. All right. So $10 wins you 15 back. Okay. $100 wins you 150 back. However you want to play it. Tough loss again. We cannot get over the hump. We cannot get to 500. The over on Friday was a terrible call. Texas, Ewers, by the way, all those people who like Ewers, I think he's garbage. I really do. Get Archie Manning in there. So 10, 12, and 1 on the year. So I threw a same game parlay together. I've already played it. I just want you guys to know, I'm giving you bets I play. Okay. I'm not throwing them out there asking you to play them and then watching when they lose. 10, 12, and 1. We're still up a little. Well, we're kind of right there. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. I'm going same game parlay. Like I said, I've already put it in a 17 plus 1,700. I like this action. So we're going to include the Addison anytime. I'm going under Sam Darnold, 264.5. Hawkinson, the Rams give up more yards. They're second or third in the NFL in receptions and yards allowed by a tight end. Hawkinson, 40 plus. And we know that Puka Nacua is going to get his. I think he's going over 100 yards tonight. Cooper Kupp, over 4.5 receptions. It's a 4-leg parlay with that kind of payout. I'm going with it. It's fun. It's a bonus. If it hits, folks, come back to us. That's to be a big one. Let's get Jordan Addison anytime in there. That's the bonus same game parlay. I'll put that on Twitter. As a matter of fact, I want to put that here. I'll take a picture of, we'll put that on Twitter later. That's our bonus bet of the day. A couple more. Don't trust polls to pick the right coach. Lou wants to know, do I have to wear a wig or something when noted Southsider Guff talks to the Cubs? I'll be at Cubs convention this week. I've had a few months to get my Cubs relationships back strong, Lou. So we're back. So we are back. Blue Dan likes the over. Is it over? I think it's over 51.5. That would just put it right at the over. Let me make sure I give you an up-to-the-date total on today's game. It is loading. PC load letter. Today's game. Yeah, way over. 47.5. All right. So one more time, there's the bet of the day. Appreciate all of you. A lot of thoughts about Mike McCarthy. We are going to learn a lot more here this week in the coming days about what's to come from the Bears head coaching search. I'd love to see some more people in the building, and hopefully that gets done. So we'll see what happens. Jordan Addison anytime, plus 150. You saw the same game parlay we got together. Appreciate you guys as always. For Katie and everybody here at the Recap, I'm Ryan McGuffey. This has been the Recap Lunch Hour, and we will see you tomorrow. Have a great day.